Unlike liberal Kamala, I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror. You have to support that. Got to win, got to finish it off. And instead of pandering to the jihad sympathizers and America-hating radicals, we will deport them. We will deport them very quickly. We have no choice.
All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan. If there's one thing Trump is actually getting right, it's his deportation policy. During Biden's presidency, we saw radical Islamists, pro-Hamas, terror simps basically take over American streets and university campuses. They weren't just harassing American Jews. They were going after anyone who dared to stand up for America or Western values. The thuggery was shocking. And the worst part? No one had a damn clue what to do about it. Biden's weak policies didn't just allow it, they encouraged it. And if Kamala Harris had won, let's be honest, things would have gone downhill even faster. But thankfully, Trump is delivering on his promise. And it's the only one that actually seems to be working. And for that, I'll give him credit. So, we all know that thanks to Trump's initiative, ICE apprehended this pro-Hamas simp Khalil Mahmud. And as expected, the entire left erupted in outrage and tried to turn it into some kind of free speech issue. When we all know the left doesn't give a damn about free speech. I mean, these are the same people who've been cancelling anyone who dares to push back against their agenda left, right and center since the days of Obama. But now, suddenly they are the champions of free speech? Please, give me a break. The cancellation of Khalil Mahmoud's green card was challenged and the matter went to the High Court, which, thankfully, ruled that yes, he can be deported on the grounds of jeopardizing US's foreign policy. Khalil isn't even a US citizen, so if he's endangering US's interests, he's out. Simple. It's literally the law Marco Rubio invoked. And for the pro-Hamas simps out there, this is bad news, because this sets a precedent. It opens the floodgates for all the thugs who thought they were untouchable while harassing and terrorizing Jews on American soil. Let me remind you, this Khalil guy, with his permanent crying face, ran a pro-Palestine advocacy student group called Columbia University Apartheid Divest, or CUAD, that posted this on Instagram. We are fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. These people are anarchists at best and traitors at worst. Well, technically, Khalil couldn't be a traitor because he isn't the US citizen, but he wanted to be a US citizen and a traitor. But it gets worse. They openly admitted to aiding and abetting enemies of the US by saying, we seek community and instructions from militants in the Global South. And who is the enemy of this so-called Global South? The West, led by the US. Yeah. Khalil Mahmud was an active member of the student group, and now he's trying to distance himself from these statements and this group. The weak Biden administration basically gave these people free rein, and with every protest, they got bolder and more brazen.
America is the cancer.
Burning the American flag, it's just, wallahi, it's a beautiful sight, but it's not enough. We need to burn down every capitalist and imperialist system that exists. We need to burn the US government.
But gladly, Trump's jihad on illegal migrants and pro-terror simps didn't end with Khalil Mahmud. Just on Monday, another pro-Hamas simp, Mohsen Madawi, got detained while on his way to take the US citizenship test. Well, at least unlike Khalil's crying face, he's putting on a brave face, although only for a little while. But let's not be fooled. Deception is their primary weapon. When they thought they were untouchable under Biden, they were loud and proud with their activism and defiance.
It's controversial, but I think Hamas are freedom fighters.
But the moment Trump puts his foot down, they suddenly start saying they're against anti-Semitism and claim they don't support Hamas. Give me a break. Check out his interview on 60 Minutes where he claims he kicked out a guy for chanting anti-Jewish slogans because, in his words, that was pure and simple anti-Semitism.
And a person who is not affiliated with Colombia, we've never seen him, we don't know who is this guy, comes down the stairs yelling, "Death to Jews." I was shocked, and I walked directly to the person and I told him, "You don't represent us because this is not something that we agree with." And directly what I've done, I took the megaphone and I gave a speech and I said, "We here are conscious, educated students, and we know how to separate right from wrong. And what this guy has said is wrong. What this guy has said is clearly anti-Semitic against Jews.
Anti-Semitic.
To be anti-Semitic is unjust. And the fight for the freedom of Palestine and the fight against anti-Semitism go hand in hand, because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
How very gracious of him. Of course, there is no video proof of him actually doing that. Isn't it amazing? The moment their visas and green cards start getting cancelled, they suddenly discover the term anti-Semitism. Don't be surprised if they now start condemning Hamas too. The same Hamas they used to call freedom fighters.
It's controversial, but I think Hamas are freedom fighters.
The same Hamas they couldn't condemn despite Piers Morgan asking them 1,000,000 times.
Do you condemn what Hamas has done?
No, I do not condemn your family is American. I support Hamas. I am Hamas. I am Hamas.
Before the crackdown, these guys didn't even try to cover their tracks. They were bold, brazen, and out in the open, posting anti-Semitic, pro-terrorist content with pride. Why? Because they believed they were untouchable. And honestly, I don't blame them. Biden gave off that vibe. So, who really is this anti-Semitic hero from Columbia University? Last year, he honored a commander from the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, a US-designated terror group that took part in the October 7th attacks alongside Hamas. He gave a carefully worded, ambiguous statement saying he empathized with Hamas for what they did on October 7th. Classic plausible deniability. And in his defense, under normal circumstances, he probably would have gotten away with it. But not now. Now he's scrambling. I didn't support them. I only said I empathize because of Israel's actions. Oh, really? Just 2 months after the October 7th terrorist attacks, he also said Hamas is just a product of Israeli occupation, justifying not only their existence, but their actions too. He even said if every political avenue available to Palestinians is blocked, we should not be surprised when resistance and violence break out. Really? Who blocked it? Did Israel tell Hamas not to hold elections in Gaza after 2005? Why didn't they try to democratize Gaza and help it evolve into a functioning society? Why do these people never condemn Hamas? And when they do, it's half-hearted, only to fool ordinary Westerners, and only when their green cards are on the line. And some don't even bother then. Like that woke Indian Ranjani Srinivasan, who self-deported herself to India. And just to top it off, here's Mohsin glorifying his jihadi cousin in a now deleted Instagram post. This morning, I received the news of the martyrdom of my cousin, my fellow fighter, my brother and my love, Masra Suleiman Masharka, after a clash with the traitor Zionist force who tried to assassinate him along with his companions, the resistance team, blah, blah, blah. If you want to boast about living by the sword, then don't cry when you die by the sword. I've always said, these pricks love encouraging others to die for Palestine, but when it's their turn, they'd rather live their cushy lives in the West. When he thought he was untouchable, on 24th of January 2024 at a Columbia protest, he proudly declared, there is nothing more honorable than dying for a noble cause. And when his turn came, guess what he said? Please don't deport me. I'll either be living, imprisoned, or killed by the apartheid system. Nice guilt trip attempt, but spare me the tears. The guy was born in Jordan, and he'll likely be deported there. Back in March, Marco Rubio said the US had already cancelled over 300 visas over pro-Hamas protests. I hope that number climbs into the thousands. This is not a free speech issue. Khalil openly admitted to receiving instructions from militants that the US classifies as terrorists. This guy, Mohsin, openly praised and glorified terrorists. People like him are walking recruitment posters, fueling more bloodshed in Israel. And who can forget this woman, Rasha Alawi, an assistant professor at Brown University? She admitted to US Customs and Border Protection officers that she attended Nasrullah's funeral in Beirut in February 2025. Nasrullah was responsible for the killing of 241 US service members. I have zero sympathy for these people, and I hope they are not the last ones to get deported. And I really, really hope that countries like Australia and Britain start following Trump's lead. It's about time we start taking these cryptic, slippery jihadis seriously. They've been taking advantage of humane Western values of free speech and liberty to travel. They've been very successful in duping the moronic Marxist far left into thinking that they're on the right side of history, when in reality, they're here to make the West fall. The right or the left will not be left if these cryptic jihadis are not handled now. And by handling, I mean deport. If you're not loyal to America or Britain or Australia or wherever you want to live as a citizen, then you're not welcome. Such a shame that something so simple has to be said over and over again. Anyway, I hope you liked today's video. Smash that like button, share it with your mates, and I'll see you in the next one.